How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of the cast right here at Celestia Radio. It is your host, as usual, Matthias, joined by my good friend Nat, and we do have a Dalit with us. We did not think we would, but we do. He's here,
Hey,
everybody. So you got the full crew.
Hi
hello,
guys.
hello, Dolan. Welcome back.
Hi. No.
Even though you didn't really left.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't leave.
Yeah.
Curse you, tropical depression scaring JetBlue.
Yeah, Mother Nature
Yeah, no.
ain't happy.
Yeah, the plane company got spooked, or what I actually think is the case is a bunch of people got spooked, and then they opened up too many seats, and they didn't want to fly the plane because it would have been expensive. And that's
Bruh.
fine.
Yeah.
Traveling during hurricane season is already a bad idea, so
Yeah.
this is probably for the best.
For a little context, Dalit was doing a little bit of traveling, so we were going to end up with one episode without him. But turns out that didn't happen. So here he is, and you have the full crew uninterrupted.
Hi, we're still here. We're
Yep.
still
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Dalit's a little depressed he didn't get to travel to see family. I'm a little bit in pain from helping family. It's all good.
hmm
So there's a couple little tidbits of news out there that I figure we could chat about because I have some thoughts on it, and I'm sure you guys do as well.
Sure.
Yep. As much as my brain can handle. Yep.
So the first one I want to bring up is, now we've been getting news and leaks and things about this for almost a year, it feels like, and I feel like this is the case every time.
hmm
But this one, for some reason, I've seen more people take a little bit more seriously than any of the other ones. And that's of the, mid-gen upgrade for PS5 is supposedly going to be announced this upcoming month. Or well, not this upcoming month. I guess it'll be sometime in September. With a potential release in November, which the PS4 Pro did a similar scheduling. So
Right.
yeah, there's talks of the what all the fans are calling the PS5 Pro, and considering
I'm sure it'll
PlayStation
be
has
called that just for marketability.
probably, and I mean the PlayStation has always basically had a gen upgrade, whether it be like the PS2 to the PS2 Slim or the 4 and the Pro. It's always been kind of a thing for them. It's kind of been a thing for all consoles, really. Uh, I know the Xbox usually did the 360 and the 360 Elite. Uh, I cannot follow the Xbox One in anything they've done with any of those because they're all called Xbox One. They just changed the letter. So
Yeah.
that entire thing, Nintendo sometimes
Nintendo's
does
guilty
but
of it too,
yeah,
especially in their
their
handhelds.
their handhelds especially, but for their consoles, it's a little stranger because it's kind of
No,
on
I
the thing.
imagine you're probably right in what you're suspecting. I don't think it was common for Nintendo to upgrade their consoles, which may be coming to an end. We might be seeing that change here relatively soon, like in the grand scheme of things, with whatever the successor for the Switch is. Oh no, I'm sorry. Nope, that's just the Switch 2. Never mind.
Yeah,
So no,
Switch
I
thing.
guess there was the swap in material, but that's less like PS4 to PS4 Pro and more like PS2 to PS2 Slim. It was just a
well,
better casing on the shell, better
Yep.
screen, and I
I'll say
think the
better screen.
joysticks were
Well, the Joy Cons
were
are on it
fixed.
permanently. Yeah, you couldn't take those off.
No, that's a
Ooh.
completely separate model. That is the Switch Lite.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, you're talking about something different.
I
OLED.
know there was like the difference between like exactly the base and the OLED, where essentially they were just using better materials.
hmm
Okay, I didn't even realize that then.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and that's kind of more in line with what Nintendo does is they'll release newer models of the same system, no changes to it, but better materials,
Yeah,
new
they still run it like a toy
cases.
shop.
Yeah. So, um, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have a PS5 that I just got last year, right before,
Mhm.
or not right before, like the week after Final Fantasy 16 came out, because I wanted to play 16 and I didn't want to get spoiled on the internet.
Right.
Um,
Understandable.
so I just got my five, and I don't feel like anything on the five is really pushing the system yet. Nothing that I've seen. Obviously, I haven't played anything because I only played like 4 games on my five,
Right.
uh,
Mm,
and I think two of those were like remasters of PS4 games.
right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So
um,
that's a it's a really weird and interesting topic whether or not games are pushing a console, right? Because a lot of people will just chalk it up to game optimization and use the devs being fucking lazy when a game pushing its console is making the game run at 30, or is it bad optimization that's making the game and not the PlayStation 5 run at 30 or lower, let's say like 17 FPS instead, right? So, what do you guys think? Because obviously, I personally don't think none of the games that have come out for the PlayStation 5 is even remotely close to pushing the consoles like requirements and systems and all that.
no, yeah, I don't. I agree. I don't really think anything that's out is pushing it. Nothing I've seen has really seemed to push it.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's just like it feels weird to even talk about a mid quote unquote gen upgrade, because it felt like what that would entail, back 360 era kind of thing.
Right.
Um, was they wanted something that was a little bit better, but wasn't the full new system to take into account all the new like tech that had come out since the initial launch, but something to buy a couple more years to work on that new tech and get their new system design, ironed out with what they wanted to do with it.
Hmm.
That's always kind of what I figured and thought the mid-gen style things were. Uh, and that's usually a result of games getting to that point where newer stuff is coming out and there's like newer hardware on PC and whatnot that requires games to upgrade to build higher, better.
Right.
uh and I don't think anything on the 5 is pushing it currently.
Oh god, no.
Mhm.
And so it's like, why do a mid-gen upgrade now unless you're just wanting to go ahead and jump into the PS6? And it's like,
I think that's
why
what
do you
it
want to jump into
is.
the yeah, I'm like, why do you want to, push for the PS6? I mean, aside from obvious, greedy corporate give me money, but why do you want to push to the PS6 when I don't think there's been any super like major leaps in technology to warrant a whole system, like a new system upgrade?
Yeah.
Like I think the 5 is handling things just fine.
Mhm.
I can't speak for the Xbox as much because I dropped them when they dropped Scalebound. So like like quite honestly. So I mean I can't speak for Xbox, but I mean at least for PlayStation, it just seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of talk a little bit about the Xbox. The Xbox One X is fine. I
Hmm.
think the PS5 is the stronger overall console, but like, there's nothing wrong with the One X. If you gave me a One X, I'd be super stoked to have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Microsoft is currently handicapped because it wants to put out stuff on the One X and the One S, and the One S is just fundamentally a worse system. I would
Uh,
compare a One S to maybe a PS4 Pro trying to run a bunch of PS5 games.
right. Which is yeah.
It's possible, but you're pushing that thing well beyond like the upper reaches of like what it wants to do comfortably. And
Right.
because of that, you see a lot of issues. In regards to the concept of like the mid generation upgrade, I think it was fine way back in the day. With I will always use PS2 to PS2 Slim, and I'll even the 3 and the 3 Slim happened. It was fine. You had a if you wanted, it was optional. You could upgrade your console to one made of better material with a better form factor,
Mhm.
because these things upon launch were chunky.
Oh yeah, they were.
So it was always really cool. Like I have never bought a PS2 Slim despite having the ability, because I actually genuinely do like the big boxy look. I have two PS2s, neither of which work at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they both died
Yeah.
Oh
honorable deaths.
That's
no.
why I got a Slim, is because my old big PS2 ended up dying as well.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had the option to, but like I'm just the PS2 is like my golden area, so I'm super nostalgic. I want the big fat boy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I never got rid
Um,
of it, even though it was broken, because I'm
exactly.
nostalgic for
Yeah,
it too.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So in regards to like PS2 to PS2 Slim, Xbox 360 to the Elite, I understand that. Actually, the 360 to Elite might not be that. I shouldn't speak on Microsoft too long ago. I was utterly unaware.
Mhm.
Um, Moving into the PS4 to PS4 Pro, I think we get a bit closer to what Matthew was saying, where they are wanting to drum up a lot of hype for the PS5, but
Yeah.
something to consider for the PS4 is the PS4 was actually a step forward in terms of tech. Like it is fundamentally a better system on all accounts.
Yeah.
Um, it allowed you to push from 1080 to 4K, which is a hell of a jump,
Yeah.
or not graphically, but from a resolution standpoint.
Yeah, for a console.
And just so. And games that did play at 1080, I think were now, or at least that were made with the 4 in mind, were able to be played at 1080, and they were the ones pushing 60 frames per second,
Right.
which was slowly but surely becoming the new standard. So I have no issue with that whatsoever. I had a PS4 Pro. I think I waited a couple months after they did the initial run, and
Mhm.
I inevitably saw the results and did in fact upgrade from my base PS4 to the PS4 Pro, which ironically, as I recall, did the opposite, where the PS4 is the chunkier system because it has more tech inside it. But that's fine. Uh, I don't think you needed to ever really get a PS4 Pro. I think this was something for comfort if you were in a good place.
So, do you think this is a question for both of you guys? Do you think ever since the PS4 Pro, do you think the Pro version of these consoles is just a stepping stone to drum up hype for the new generation of consoles?
Yes.
No,
Okay,
but
why is that?
my answer is explicitly going off the PS4.
Okay,
And I, to the spirit of your question, I still don't think that's it for the PS5, but it might be.
I
The
feel like it is for the
PS4,
PS5 specifically.
yeah, for the PS4 Pro, it is, despite me saying no, it absolutely did drum up hype. Like the first thing that people thought about was, okay, this is the last major update to a PS4. The next time we see anything about hardware, it will be the PS5.
Right.
So I think, like, if I'm being entirely honest, yeah, there's marketability here,
Hmm.
but the PS4 did show me enough to say that no, this was actually a step forward technologically. And it was a nice, like, middle child, if you will, between the two generations.
Okay.
Um, the PS5 is really hard to tell because I, and technically this should have been the answer I started off with, because this was the question you asked initially. I don't know why the PS5 Pro would be. Matthew said it earlier, you said it earlier, I absolutely agree. There is no game that I have seen, that I have played, that has pushed the PS5 so meaningfully. I thought to myself, I don't think the overhead on this system can cover the failings of either the optimization or just what the game needs to do to output the game.
Right.
I think the PS5 is fine. I think the PS5 is an incredibly powerful piece of tech. I still, gonna be honest with you guys, as a PC player, I don't understand how they made this damn thing. That is a very powerful piece of tech for it to be that small. I can absolutely outperform it on my PC, but my PC's chunky.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It's got a lot of power for its size.
Um,
Um,
I just I don't know what a PS4 or sorry, a PS5 Pro brings to the table. I don't assume they're gonna allow people to play in 8K, so the resolution shouldn't be a thing. We
Right.
already have HDR. We've had HDR since the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the PS5 can absolutely play a game at 60 frames per second. There is the slimmest chance that the PS5 Pro's claim to fame will be play at 4K at 60 frames per second, because that
I
is currently
mean,
something that can't be done. Not
right.
really. Oh, if you are playing at 4K, quote unquote, and at 60 FPS, what's probably happening is you're playing at 1080 and you're upscaling everything. Matter
Right.
of fact, I think a lot of 4K on the PS4 Pro and the early PS5 stuff might not even be true 4K.
Mm-hmm.
I think it still is currently 1080 upscaled.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people come out and say the PS5 is true 4K, or true 4K with uh, solid 60 FPS on all titles. I don't know what titles would make the most use of that at the moment. I'm sure there are plenty that would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's worth paying the fee for, because even if you trade in your PS5 for like the 300 bucks you'll get for it,
Mm-hmm.
PS5 Pro's gonna be what, $600?
For you guys, yes.
For
For
rumors
for
are
me,
us,
it's
saying
gonna
I'm
be
sorry, Nat. It's not even worth
it's
talking about.
it's
You're gonna get
unironically
fucking robbed.
it's unironically gonna be like $900,000 because the OG PS5 when it first came
It's
out,
like eight.
it was 700 for it was 700 for the one that allows physical disc and 600 for the digital only one. So
All right. To be fair, that was a lot fairer than I expected from Australia. I'm gonna be real with you.
the
it's
rumored prices for the 5 Pro right now are between 5 and 600. That's what
Yeah, so that's about what I expect. Um,
so.
Something else to
I don't
consider that
know.
they.
That's about the same as what the regular 5 was. So I'm assuming the price would be about the same for uh, what the 5 was when it came out over there in Australia. So I'm assuming that's what you're looking at.
if
Potentially.
if the PS5 Pro is cost the same when the PS5 first came out, I'd be really shocked because usually that's not the case with like just
Isn't it
any
though?
console.
Usually the mid gens come out, overtake that price point, and then the like initial
It's
versions
usually
drop.
100 200 is more dearer because it's the Pro version.
Yeah, I was about to say that's usually the case for us, but we're not having to worry about import fees and
Yeah.
such like that. That's the part where I say like it's difficult for us to talk about Nat, who gets absolutely screwed on
Hmm.
all the
Sure.
various importing and shenanigans that go into living in Australia and being a video game player.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the prices for the PlayStation 5 that allows us to use disc. I would not be surprised that even after what 4 or 5 years since PS wait when did
Came out in 2020.
2020, yeah, so the 4 years it came out, it'd still be like $500 $600 even like pre-owned and all that shit
All
because
right.
yeah
So
it's
like if looking at this is correct, like they're talking about like the PS5 including like ray tracing. So it's probably going to be a lot to do with like the Nvidia side of things,
Mhm.
making the most of the cards on that point, which are really neat. It's super novel. It's something that we talk about as PC players all the time. Like, do you get an AMD and just deal with FSR, or do you actually like search and find the RTX cards for the unequivocally better experience? I'm sorry, AMD. Nvidia's
You
just
do
got
the
your number.
Yeah.
RTX.
Like, don't get me
Go
wrong.
RTX.
Yeah, I love AMD. I love AMD CPUs. It's the only thing that I'm never going back to Intel at this point. But
Agreed. Yeah.
card wise, Nvidia just has the market absolutely dominated
Yep.
on this case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just like looking at the various rumors, like it looks like it's going to be a step up. I just don't know that it's going to be the same step up that the PS4 Pro was, and I don't even know if it's necessary. Like ray tracing would be nice, but I think the only people that care about that are already waiting to buy those games on PC. And this is the big issue
Oh yeah.
with gaming now that I don't think was an issue before. I think before there was an unequivocal separation between people that play video games on consoles and people that play video games on PC. And
Oh
I think over the years, that
Yeah.
lines got so blurry that introducing situations like this may not matter because the people who are looking for the nitty gritty like this have probably already found it by spending the 800-900 bucks on their PC.
hmm
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people that want a lot of these like very specific upgrades that go into this, or that are, at the very least, that are rumored to be going into like the PS5 Pro, are the type of gamers and players that play mostly on PC. So they've already spent the money to upgrade their PC to these, requirements.
hmm
Growing up mostly around people that played console games, these kind of things didn't matter to us ever.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I mean, I can't. I'm not trying to speak for all console gamers. Obviously, I'm just
Sure,
saying
exactly.
it's just like for all the ones I knew, it was never that big of a deal. Like we didn't care. Um,
hmm
only reason any of us ever got like the pro or the elite or that kind of equivalent thing was because our initial one broke. Like that's the only reason it ever happened, and even
Yeah.
then, they didn't break very often. Especially when you have a friend who knew how to fix them, even if he
Right.
wasn't technically supposed to, but he did it and it worked. So
Man.
we didn't question it.
Yeah, it's just like whether you're 7, 8 years old or you're 16, 17 years old, you did not fucking care about the requirements. Back in the day, obviously, you did not care about the requirements and the system specs for these consoles. You're just like, oh, it plays video games, cool. Yep, that's it.
Pretty
Oh,
much. No, like
oh,
genuinely.
I can play video games with my friends online. That's pretty cool. That's like the only like system specs that people cared about back in the day was that
Yeah.
was this online compatible? It was. Alright, I can
Well,
play
I
Call of
mean,
Duty or Halo with my friends.
God,
Hell, even
forget,
PlayStation
I
2 with
forget how
fucking
young you are. Yeah, I was like, we have to go further to before multiplayer, my guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just chose based on which games they
Well,
had.
okay, yeah,
Oh man,
100%. Yeah.
correct. Like, don't get me wrong, but like I'm saying specifically, like even PlayStation 2, believe it or not, had online functionality. That's how you played Final Fantasy 11 back in the day. It was
yeah,
insane.
but we're
It's
talking about
true.
like hyper limited on that. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not really comparable to what was on the PS3.
Right.
So I might be speaking out of ignorance, but I had a PS2, played a PS2 for most of a PS2's lifetime. There never really seemed to be any games designed towards online multiplayer.
No, it was
Or I don't
so
even think
fucking niche.
I don't think I
I
ever
can
played a
literally
game
only
on.
think of two games. I can think of obviously Final Fantasy 11,
hmm
and the other one is I think SOCOM Navy SEALs,
Okay.
Maybe SOCOM,
and
yeah.
those are the
So
only two games I know that made use of like online stuff.
The
yeah, so like none did for the PS2, like this that I can think of, or that I guess that we can think of.
Right.
The Xbox, like the original Xbox, did have a few games that had multiplayer. So it was a little bit more prevalent for that because it had both
Hmm.
Halo and Halo 2
and Call
Right.
of
among
Right.
Duty because that was
and
universal.
it had a couple other games as well.
Mhm.
I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it actually, was where a lot of that online multiplayer really started, which is why the 360 may have kind of taken off faster than the 3 did?
Oh, yes,
Well,
but 3
that
had
and the
one
price
thing.
tag.
Well, that
Yeah.
3 had something in its back pocket that a lot of people considered, and that was free online. You didn't have to pay for a
Yes, it wasn't
subscription.
until the 4. You are
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
is huge.
But 3, despite that, 360 was still fucking huge.
Yes, for sure.
Within their respective generations, PS2 outdid Xbox.
With ease, because
360 outdid the PS3.
Hmm.
PS4 outdid the 1, and the 5 has outdone the 1, whatever it is. So
you
The Series X, yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Actually, no, I was gonna say like, no, I'm not gonna bring it because I was gonna say like, around like PS4, PS5, it's kind of hard because Microsoft did both Xbox and PC, and it's like, actually, no, I'm not gonna.
no, yeah, you can speak strictly on consoles because
Yeah,
even Microsoft came out and said around in the PS4 era, like, yeah, we messed up
yeah,
with this era of a console.
yep,
Like,
yep, yep.
Not to mention the side that deals with making Windows and the side and the part of the studio this our studio the company that deals with Xbox are separate. Microsoft is a gargantuan company that
Yeah,
does separate their businesses. So
yeah.
I think it is fair to talk about it separately. Getting back to the mid-season, I'm gonna keep saying mid-season, the mid-generation
The
upgrade.
MSI
is
of
there some kind of
consoles.
mid-season sport thing going on right now, Dalit? Like,
No, but every time I hear like it's like mid-season of like it's a patch cycle for a game, or like Matt pointed out, MSI,
mm,
the Invitational.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just force of habit. For the generations, I just the closer you get to making consoles, PCs, the I think the worse this gets for the console makers. Like I think this is actually genuinely pretty dangerous for Sony. Less so for
Worse it gets for
Microsoft.
the consumer. Starts
Um,
hurting the wallet more.
well, I don't think it is worse for the consumer because I think the consumer just gets smart and builds a PC. Um,
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean because I mean, okay, so you're gonna have those people because I still know people that are very stubborn about not wanting to play on a PC. They want a console.
Right.
Um, it hurts their wallet, but any reasonable person, yeah, they would be like, all right, I'm just gonna build a PC because you can make spend a lot more money at one time. You make a kick ass PC that lasts a lot longer than consoles,
and
which
on the whole, it ends up being cheaper to upkeep, which is the thing.
yeah,
You're not buying a new console every time it comes out. The most expensive thing that you're probably changing is your graphics card, and that prices didn't used to be this awful. And I guess they have gone down considerably from when we last spoke about it. So, like, yeah, it's really not that bad. It is, however, a pretty big upfront cost, but so is a console. So is a
Yeah.
console if you're going to also commit to these mid-generation upgrades, because it means that if you paid, let's be generous, let's say 500. You didn't. You paid 600 when you bought it, but let's say 500.
Yeah.
That means that when you trade it in, let's assume, let's best case scenario, you trade it in, you get like $300 back. You're probably not getting more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
Matt, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said,
look,
let's be generous.
there's a meme that exists for a reason, and I used to work for the meme, so
Yeah.
trust me.
So
I get to laugh at that.
Yeah, let's just say you get
$2 store
300
credit.
back. That means that you were then paying another $200 to $300 on top of what you paid initially. So
Right.
at the end of the generation, you're probably paying about $700-800 for the console of your choice.
Right.
That's about as much as you pay for a PC from almost scratch. And this goes into say nothing about all of the peripherals that you'll need to get. Your controller, a second controller, if that's just how you do, all of the games, blah, blah, blah. And it gets worse in this generation where you have the ability to slot in new hard drives, bigger hard drives, which I'm sure will be a potential upgrade of the PS5 Pro, because onboard memory is kind of, well, not memory, onboard storage. Memory is different.
Yeah,
storage for the
fast.
PS for any console actually is
Yeah.
kind of trash.
Yeah.
It always has been. It's one of the
Oh
bottlenecks that
god.
everyone just understands and says, you know what, for the small form factor, fine, whatever.
Man,
Um,
oh man, you saying that, I'm just reminded of uh OG Xbox 360 only holding like
oh yeah,
10 gigs, 25 gigs of fucking storage, and
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
sell like fucking hard drives that was like 250 gigs. It's like
Now,
you needed that.
now hold on. There was a cool thing because the original, 360s had that hard drive that clicked onto the side, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
There was a really cool thing when you had friends and
Oh,
then
that was
back in
so
that
cool.
era, and you wanted to play games, but you had your games on your hard drive or whatever.
Yeah.
You just
bring
click
yours
that
over.
bad boy off.
Yeah.
You don't have to take your whole console with you.
Oh my
You show up at your
god.
friend's house and you just whip it out of the bag and be like, "Yo, let's play this right now.
Yep.
Let's do it."
Oh my god. It was
We're throwing down in 2K and throwing down in name a fighting game here. For me and my friends, it was Halo. We're playing Halo right
yeah.
now. Let's do it. Um, everybody's like all of my friends in middle school, high school, all that. It all was on my hard drive. So it was that whenever we hung out, like it was just Matt, make sure you bring your hard drive. I'm like, I got
Or
you. It's in the bag.
or if you want a game saved onto your hard drive, but you don't have the game, you go to your friend's place that has the game. You play the game on your HDD, and then you have the fucking save file in your HDD, and you're like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
God, it was so fucking cool.
but yeah, like to rewind a minute to the price point thing that Dalit was talking about. Like, yeah, like you put what was the number that you ended up on? Like you said, like 750.
It's like $700 to $800 depending on.
Yeah,
Uh,
$800, and you're gonna see people that make the argument of, but like building a top notch PC is like $3,000-$4,000.
it's
$5,000.
I'm
really
like,
not.
yeah, if you're building it from scratch and shooting entirely for the most top of the line stuff, yeah, you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000.
It's even
But
then, if you're paying anything more than like $1,500, you're getting scammed outright, straight up.
but
Yeah.
it's if you don't shoot for top of the line, top notch, whatever's the newest of the new, and you just shoot for what's good and like in your price range. The PC I have right now, and I have had for I want to say like 12-ish years now. No, a little less than that, maybe 10-ish years now. When I built it, it was like 1250, and it's lasted me this long, and I can keep using it for another couple years just fine. I have no problems. Um, though I am working to upgrade it, but that's just. But yeah, it's that price range. It's still a two to like a $200 to $500 range, but I mean, look at that lifespan. It's longer because with the mid gen, that's what 4 to 5 years. I mean, this is potentially coming out in 2024 if the rumors and leaks are real.
Yeah.
So it's a 4 year time span, and you're spending that $750 total price point for who knows how long until they decide to release the six, right? You spend
Yeah.
like a little bit more, and you're guaranteed minimal like 10 years.
It ends up
So
being a false equivocation anyway, because if you're
yeah,
paying $3,000 for a a computer, well, first of all, you're getting scammed. But if you do get $3,000 worth of computer in your computer, you're no longer playing something equivalent to a PS5. The
Right.
PS5 has nothing on you at that point.
Yeah.
PS5 is
yeah,
probably probably an $800 $900 computer. It's not if you're going for the best stuff, you're blowing what your previous like point of comparison was so far out of the water that yeah, you're getting a better outcome for your price. But if we keep it comparative, you're not
which
paying
lasts so much longer
which
too.
lasts
Another
so
thing.
much longer, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, like compared to a PS5, like if you were to pay the same amount that you pay for a generation, you're gonna get something of equivalent value. Straight up.
Yeah.
It's and like I bring that like point up because something I've noticed is it really feels like if we don't count Nintendo for a moment, if we don't count Nintendo for a moment, I want to point that out.
Okay.
It feels like the time span between these generations, like even generation to mid generation and mid generation to next gen, it's shrinking. Like it feels like they're just getting shorter and shorter, and like making people pay more frequently.
They
And
absolutely
I'm just
are.
like,
They
it's
absolutely
just like
are.
they're constantly trying to upgrade the systems to the newer tech because tech is advancing at a fast pace in terms of like PC like hardware and graphical capabilities and
But the
processing power
problem
and all of
is
these
they screw
things.
themselves trying to chase that.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's what I wanted to get at. Yeah,
Yeah.
they screw themselves trying to chase it, but that's what consoles are doing is like they're chasing that, and they're just the generations are getting shorter and shorter and shorter between each other, and it's just like for a console gamer, it's just like bro, chill.
Yeah, no, it's
'Cause I
it's
remember feeling that at a time, like when the between the 4 to the 5, like when the 5 came out, I or was announced, I'm just like, but I've only had my 4 like 7 years at this point, and I got mine at launch. I'm like, why so soon?
Is it so soon though, or does it just?
yes, no, I am absolutely going to stick a knife in this argument immediately. It's absolutely soon.
Okay.
Um, and it's not even just absolutely soon for we the buyers. It's
Right.
soon for everyone. Um, or it is now. It may not have been up until the PS3. I think the
Because
PS4 could have gone a bit further and been fine.
mm,
The PS5 absolutely has no reason to even be looking at the PS6 yet. Nintendo, we don't talk about because Nintendo is always playing behind.
yeah,
And also just lets those things sit for so long. So long.
um, how do I want to broach this? The reason
Nintendo?
why, no, no, no,
Oh,
the generations in general. The reasons why
okay.
earlier generations lasted longer were a few different reasons. A, it they were made for less money and they were able to pump out a bunch of different games. Especially again, looking at the PS2 era, not even just the PS2, just that era of gaming.
mm,
That's like
So many games.
it was so lucrative.
it was.
Um, and as we get further and further from there, games become more and more expensive. And that is a problem
Mm,
because now they're putting out consoles at a loss always. They're never sold for what they're worth because let's be real here, like I said, to build something the equivalent of a PS5, you're paying $800, right? But
right.
if you only pay 500, that means the company's taking a massive loss on it.
Yeah.
So you're getting the hardware dirt cheap and the games that we've seen through failings of the FTC legal battle
Mm,
are costing millions upon millions to make, and we're seeing companies see very successful games and say it didn't meet our expectations.
yeah.
You sold 16 million copies. What do you mean? Well, it wasn't Call of Duty numbers. We're not selling like I don't know
30 or
50
50
million
million.
copies.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, and so now every console needs to be able to push graphics further, needs to
Oh, it
make your
does.
render bigger, needs to have
Oh,
more pixels on screen, needs to be able to do all of this ray tracing and nonsense, and that adds so much more to the base cost um, of the hardware. And
right.
then you have all of the software that you make specifically for that. Because there's no point in having all that in the hardware if your software isn't pushing it. And that's how you get to where we were actually all the way back to the PS3, where the PS3 was suddenly now like $600 during a time when no one was really expecting to pay more than 450, 500.
Yeah.
Big problem. And we see this trend chasing all the way through. and it doesn't need to be. We don't need to be pushing games this hard. Games don't need to be looking like movies. And when I say that, I don't mean like cinematography. I mean like you don't need actual true one-to-one photorealism.
Yeah.
Um, every game doesn't need to be open world. Every game doesn't need to be 1,000 hours, a 10-year experience.
Yeah.
These are the
I
things that
mean,
are causing
we've
issues.
yes, we've mentioned this so many times on this cast already. Like with so many games this year alone that have come out at less than $50 and just absolutely killed it. Pal World, Helldivers 2. There was another really big one that absolutely killed it.
Uh,
Last Epoch, I think that
Palworld?
came out this year, and that did really good.
It did.
Palworld?
Yeah, I said Pal World. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Taking a
I
step back to what these games are and like giving them a stronger aesthetic and less one-to-one on like graphical fidelity, and having tighter loops of gameplay will allow you to make more games that cost less to make on less powerful hardware more often.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dollar, because I have a question for you guys.
What's up?
Okay, so at least for me, I consider the PS2 to be the golden era of video games, right?
I agree.
Because, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Do you think we will ever get another PS2 golden era with these future generations of consoles?
No.
With the consoles, no.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't think that as well. But I was kind of
Now,
hoping.
now I will like kind of insert semi rebuttal here.
Hmm.
If you dial back to early PS4, not beginning PS4, but early PS4,
Right.
maybe mid PS4, and go all the way to now, and you have been a PC gamer, you've been in a golden era of gaming because there's been a lot of great games to come out in that time frame.
Right.
Sure.
But you've also not had to worry about upgrading into a different console every time.
Yeah,
So
and
you've
PCs
gotten
are
that similar
continuing with that
experience.
because
Yeah.
things like there was talks about Nintendo and Microsoft having collaborations, but I've yet to see anything come forward on the
Holy shit.
Nintendo side of things. Seen plenty of the Microsoft side,
Right.
um, but you've at least seen Sony being willing to move to a PC distribution as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, you're not wrong. PCs have like PC players. We've been enjoying this for the longest time. Consoles,
Yeah.
absolutely
So
not. As
yeah,
because go ahead.
I was like a PC. Like I said, like since that like mid or early to mid PS4 era has entered a new golden era of gaming. But if you're playing on consoles, you have not experienced that because it's all you know secluded on consoles, and it's a different experience. You're having to get new consoles to get new games, and it's all like segmented away.
And
Hmm.
I think that's the
Yeah,
really.
you don't get that golden era experience, and it does feel like different eras. But because I mean, and I guess they are, but it does feel like different eras because you're getting different gens of consoles and
Right,
etc. and so
exactly.
forth. But like I said, for us over here on PC, it's been the same. We've been playing, we've been gaming, we've been having a blast enjoying all these games for a number of years. So
And that's the strong suit of PlayStation 2, because like PlayStation 2 went on for like what, 10 years? 10 more?
Thereabouts.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
minimal 10 years.
Yeah. So like, because the fact that you did not, well, yes, there were different editions and renditions of the actual PlayStation console itself, or the PlayStation 2 console itself, you you weren't forced to upgrade because, oh, this thing has 8 megabytes more memory than the OG PS2. Like, no, there was like none of that. It was just like, oh, do you want a fatter one? Do you want a slimmer one? Do you want one in
Yeah.
silver? Do you want in red? Like, it's sort of like that, and there was just no like this mid section of, oh, you have to upgrade or else your OG PS2 is just gonna like kill itself.
Okay, but it should also be mentioned, and this is something I meant to get on a while ago before I got distracted. The reason why I said no way back in the day, all of this is a way for the company to get more money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no,
100%, yeah.
absolutely,
We Yeah, we could talk
absolutely.
about all of the development advantages that a mid-generation upgrade brings. We can talk about all the consumer-focused stuff that
Yeah.
gets added to these game boxes that the mid-generation upgrade brings. What this is, at the end of the day, is a way for them to charge us more money,
Y-
which is fine, mind you. They're a business.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that because I think if they were truly like not at all a meaningful way to generate more revenue for the various companies, Microsoft and Sony, they wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't happen. But
Oh yeah.
between the various cosmetic upgrades we've had in the past, the slim and the specialty models,
Mhm.
they know that there is a way to milk us for more money. And it
Yeah.
works. It just happened last generation for Sony in particular that it came with meaningful upgrades to more than just the cooling.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't bring that up is because honestly, I just assumed, especially just like between us three, that we knew
Well,
that
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we knew that from the get go. But like you were right. Like we should have brought that up way earlier. That let's be real here, they are just doing this for the money and nothing else.
I
That
mean, yeah, but if you take that approach right out the bat, it kind of nullifies any of the conversation. So
Exactly. It
true.
is important that we talk about like the developmental advantages to this, the consumer focused additions that are being made to them, but also none of this matters if they're not willing to do it because it's cost prohibitive. It's clearly not.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of the issue is companies, are it doesn't make them as much money. They are greedier. Um, so yeah, like that's kind of the big thing. But and that's kind of I don't think anybody has any disillusion to that. So that's why I
Well,
didn't,
I hope
mention
not.
it, and I
Sure.
was so. But yeah, no, it is worth mentioning. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's just man, only 4 years. I truly do think the PS5 Pro is just a stepping stone. I don't think we'll truly see anything revolutionary. Even if we do get a PS6, I don't think it's going to be a truly revolutionary piece of technology for the consoles.
What's really awkward about this is the PS5 Pro actually would have to do well with both developers and players to justify a 6. And I don't think it's ever going to justify it to players. There will be a couple of people who get like a real hard on over like the true 4K and the ray tracing.
I think
Sure.
the only actual major function that would matter between uh each generation of consoles, which has happened before, but I don't know why they got rid of it, is backward compatibility.
Hey, well, the problem with that is the PS5, base PS5 is backwards compatible.
Oh, is it? I thought it wasn't. I
Nope, you can play your PS4
remember
games.
I know the first lot of PS3s were, but then they stopped doing that and I don't remember PS4.
No, PS4 wasn't. PS4 was a
Yeah,
fucking
that's right.
joke in that
Because
regard.
that's right. You can play PS4 games on PS5. Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah,
That was the mid-gen thing for PS3. Was you went from the backwards compatible ones to the non-backwards
Yes,
compatible
true.
ones.
was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Like it was,
But
it
yeah,
was a big step down.
yeah, but like,
which is why I was able to sell original PS3 for a very nice price when I got rid of mine, which I still kind of regret. But I was helping out a
I was about
friend.
to say you
yeah,
probably got
Um,
mostly full price for that.
Yep, because it was backwards compatible, and like
Yeah.
friend couldn't get his hands on a PS2. Really wanted to play a PS2 game, and I'm like, I got this, and I'm not using it because I have a new one. So I sold it to him for a really good price
yeah,
because he
like,
wanted. And like I said, if it like I really didn't want to get rid of it, but I was like, I'll help out a friend. It's fine.
mhm.
Uh, Unfortunately, I fell out of touch with that friend, so
Oof.
I was like trying to stay in touch so that if he was ever done with it, I was gonna buy it back from him just to have it. But oh well.
Yeah, like it was a really weird time for Sony, and I don't remember Xbox, but they were like, Yeah, we're just gonna be a bit wishy-washy with backwards compatibility because we want customers to buy our generation for the generation, and it's like, but what if I wanna
Let's
play?
That
not forget.
that makes no sense to me.
What do you
At no
mean?
point.
I want to insert real quick. Let's not forget when Microsoft was first talking about the Xbox One, the PS4 equivalent. When they first started talking about it, they were like, no discs, going full
Yeah, that was
digital.
crazy.
Yeah, and that's the immediate backlash they got from that. And they're like, we're sorry, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
To be fair, if they did that now, it wouldn't be so bad. PS5 to that. PS5 also offers a choice, which is different.
Yeah.
I think we're probably more ready for that now than we were
Physical or digital.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back then we just weren't ready
but
for it
it
because it
was
wasn't
yeah, that was
precedent.
crazy.
Yeah.
You couldn't have paid
I
me
They
don't
to
like
make
full
that.
digital, even though I have a
yeah,
Neither
fucking
do
they
I.
PC.
Neither
But
do I.
the PC is different. When it comes to consoles, I like my physical games, you know.
same. I got a 5 that's physical because I so even though I play on PC like 99%, like I don't really touch my consoles much.
Right.
Um that is going to forever be my biggest and like greatest sadness is I love having a shelf with my games on it. I love seeing it. Just like I have a shelf with all of my manga, I have a shelf with all of my books. I have a shelf, I like seeing things on my shelf. I enjoy seeing it. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Movies, all of it.
Yeah,
So,
this is the more customer side of consoles is your collection, whether it's the actual consoles themselves or the games that they're on, or hell, even the accessories that you get from like special editions and all that. Hell, while I don't have it anymore because it broke, but back in Xbox 360 when DMC Devil May Cry came out, I got the special edition. That means I got the necklace that Dante wore. And well,
oh, I'm actually jealous of that.
yeah, well, I mean again it broke, but and I don't have it anymore. But like, it's stuff like that, like customer side of things, like you're just proud of buying and owning these things, but like nowadays it's like, oh cool, I got a PS5 that I don't fucking use anymore because PC is just ultimately better, and all the PlayStation 5 exclusive games just come onto PC within a year or two, if that.
Quick side note: coolest thing I ever got at a physical collector's edition was Infamous 2.
Oh
I got Cole's like sling bag that he wears.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, it made me so happy. I loved that thing to death. It got stolen though, so I didn't have it.
Ooh, unlucky.
Yeah, it made me sad. I really loved that bag. I didn't use it a lot because I never really
War bags.
went anywhere
Yeah.
to use it, I guess. But I loved to have it. It made me so happy, and I was a huge fan of that series. Still am. Would
Hey,
love to see like some kind of reboot to that series,
it's
but
it's just collector's brain rot at that point. Don't worry, I also have it, Matt.
I mean, I've always been a big collector. Like
Yeah.
I've like that's why I like my collector's editions. Like I like my Final Fantasy 14 ones because of the statues,
Yep.
even though I haven't got it the last couple times. I had a really cool Witcher 3 statue that they gave to managers at GameStop. Like that was who they made these statues for, and that was something they gave out to them. And my manager that I worked for got it, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want this, Matt. Do you want it?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I
Fuck
want
yeah.
it. It's
Funny
cool."
you should ask.
That's tangent. That's I was just like that's so I love my collector stuff, and yeah, so giving them the choice for the disc to no disc, the right move, and when you're gonna make that move, it's the right way to do it. Is
Mhm.
give the choice, so that way some people will do it because it's cheaper. I'll do that,
Yep.
and if they're really adamant, they'll just be like, all right, well, I'll wait till I have the extra $100 to get the one that can do physical,
Yep.
and then it just slowly becomes more predominant, and then you can get away with doing it. I think the choice should always be there, personally,
I
even
agree.
when even though we have like transitioned to mostly digital for like across the board.
Mhm.
Um, I still think the choice should always be there, just because.
Yep. But yeah, like I just find it, this new generation of consoles just really disappointing because either it's it's either because uh shit, I just had it. It's like as you said, like you know how Xbox says we're doing all digital, and then they obviously backtracked, right? It's either the lack of options that they backtrack, or it's just meaningless upgrades in quotation marks into the mid section of the console, the generation's life cycle.
Yeah, no, there's been plenty to be disappointed about. Nintendo is Nintendo, and so
Hmm.
incredibly disappointing just by existing.
Okay, okay, okay,
Sorry,
okay,
sorry,
okay,
Nintendo. Make
okay.
True,
make a better.
true.
Hmm?
Hypothetical.
Oh,
Would you
okay.
okay, hypothetical, like what if Nintendo just released like the equivalent to like a PlayStation 5 Pro?
I would buy it immediately.
You
Yeah.
would?
Yes, I owned a 64. I owned a GameCube. In fact,
Fuck
I owned
yes.
a
Oh my
Wii.
god.
I owned a
Thank
Wii U. Like when they
You.
made consoles, I bought Nintendo consoles. I like
thank
a lot of
you. Oh my
Nintendo
god.
products. I do not like their mobile products because A, tiny screen and I have bad old man eyes, and
Yeah.
B, especially with the Switch, exclusively with the Switch because it's this weird mismatch. Uh, you
That
want
is
me to have the same feelings on it as its contemporaries, the PS5 and the Xbox Series insert here,
yeah.
but it's not that. So you seem like the lesser of the three. If
I'm
you have
so
something
glad.
comparable, if Nintendo makes something comparable, Nintendo is always guaranteed to be fine.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I hate Nintendo is the reason why it'll always be successful. It doesn't put its games anywhere else. I can
Okay,
only
I'm
play
glad you brought it
Zelda.
up.
And yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
I
yep.
can only play Zelda on a Nintendo product. I can only play Pokemon on a Nintendo product. I can only play Smash on a Nintendo product. Matter
That
of fact, I can only play Bayonetta on a Nintendo product.
Yeah, like that's a big thing Nintendo has for it, and like the only reason it thrives as well as it does, not the only reason, but it's one of the major reasons it thrives as well as it does, is it has between the three consoles the largest exclusive IP library, and they are stingy with it. They hold on to it behind like the type of security
Oh
you
yeah.
see in science fiction novels. Like that
Hmm.
that doesn't exist in today's day and age, but they have it behind that style of security.
Yeah.
If it exists, it's in Nintendo's headquarters where they hold those rights to those IPs. Like even some of their not as like critical IPs that they don't hold like as much like iron grip on, like still you don't see all of it get released outside of Nintendo very often.
Hmm.
Um, like I think they only recently started releasing Sonic stuff outside of their stuff. So
Yeah, I saw a bunch of Sonic games on Steam. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah, no, like, um, okay, so Dolan, you're half right. You can play Bayonetta on Steam, but 2 and 3 is still on Switch or
Sure,
wherever the
sure.
fuck
They
it is.
didn't. They never brought those over.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
like, I'm glad you brought up the actual Nintendo consoles because while the PS4, not PS4, the PlayStation 2 was the golden era, Nintendo 64 and the GameCube went fucking hard on just
correct.
the
oh
quality
yeah,
of games that they had.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Um, so it just goes back to me being disappointed with like why not continue that, and that's one big reason, and that's because Nintendo is based in Japan, and a lot of from what I can tell I'm not Japanese, but from what I can tell, a lot of Japanese players, especially back in the day, they just preferred the mobility of taking a handheld console with them to work, school,
You're correct.
fucking
Oh
wherever.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
100%. For teenagers in school,
Oh, not
to
just
take it out
teenagers;
like
it's just
between
adults as well. Like they
Well,
fucking
yeah, but
love
I
that
mean, I mean,
shit.
I'm getting there.
Right.
Like between teenagers at school, you can take it out between classes, before, after school, play games with your friends, sit down, do some Monster Hunter, that kind of thing. And then, yeah, for even adults afterwards, whether you're an adult in college, you know, going to and from classes, whether you're an adult with work, on the train. Japan has a very like on the go lifestyle,
Mhm.
and it's why handheld was very popular there, and it's why mobile and gotcha games have done so well over there to this day because
Right.
a very on the go lifestyle. So
But yeah, I would love Nintendo to pretty much essentially do a PS5 equivalent of the Nintendo console and have it be like the Nintendo 64 or like the GameCube version of like just how where they make their really high quality games on. And then when I say high
And they
quality,
should.
obviously, yeah, I don't mean like photorealism, but like, I'm talking, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes, like
Yeah.
Nintendo would just be able to put more effort into their games because they wouldn't be like hamstringed by the hardware. And I can't imagine that we won't see this in the future. But also the Switch was such a success.
It
When I say
was.
the future, I do mean the far future. Because they're
Yeah.
going to do the
Yeah.
Switch at least one more time. But I,
Mhm.
I I know that Japan has kind of grown up a bit and does understand that there is reasons why PCs were so big in the rest of the world. So they've embraced that. So I think that there is room to move back to consoles um, for Nintendo. And frankly, Nintendo probably should because, as every other Japanese corporation has learned, if you market outside of Japan and you cater exclusively to Japan, you shoot yourself in the foot because you have become your own smallest demographic.
Right. Yeah, no,
Uh,
absolutely right.
but again, Nintendo doesn't always have to play by the rules because
Mhm.
Nintendo owns everything under its little umbrella, and it's the only way to enjoy this. So, despite despite it making sense that they should stop marketing exclusively for Japan for a wider appeal, their wider appeal is going nowhere because they have no actual real competitors.
Right.
So, I would like to see in the future a Nintendo console that is perhaps not as super over the top as whatever its modern contemporary is, but is relatively speaking in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Because I just
It,
honestly, for the developers working on the game, imagine if Monolith could actually have hardware.
oh
They
my
made
god. Xenoblade
absolute
Chronicles would
mirror.
go
Thank
hard.
you. Oh
Yes.
my god. The fact that 3 looks anything like it does and plays anything like it does is a miracle. 2 is a
Yeah.
mess, but a very, very good mess.
Yeah.
If they had access to real overhead, oh, it would be
Oh.
so good.
Oh. It would.
But
Oh.
just imagine all your favorite games that are on Nintendo, but with actual engines and hardware to support them.
Uh,
You would have incredible games that would actually show up even more than they do at
bro.
I
Worlds.
mean, yeah,
Pokemon
pretty
Leg.
much. Like
Sorry, go.
it, a lot of it just comes down to I don't even necessarily know how the games would look different. I would hope rather a lot that they wouldn't look that different. Just the optimization, the stability of these games would be huge. Because
Oh,
again,
yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3, absolutely stunning, huge game. Just being
Runs
able
on
to
30
draw out that
FPS.
render dishes, yeah, being able
Yeah.
to draw out that render distance and really just have a rock solid FPS the whole time would
Yep.
be crazy.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Yep.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Again, Monolith, what black magic are you using? How did you make those games on a Switch? Having the stability in those games and being able to build upon those for future titles, insane. Imagine a Pokemon game that looked worth playing again.
oh.
But that's less a Nintendo and more a Game Freak thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Um,
So I want to insert just a little story tangent here because we were mentioning the GameCube, so I just want to insert it before we get too far away from that. When the GameCube came out, the year it came out,
Mhm.
that year on my birthday, in my little corner of Florida, we got nailed dead on by a Category 4 hurricane.
Ooh.
hmm,
It hit on my birthday, literally day of my birthday. I'm sitting bunkered down with my family in our living room. My stepdad had this like like weird, like it was just like a portable little handheld TV thing that picked up off of like antenna or whatever. I don't
Right.
remember how it worked. Uh, I was sitting there on that watching. I think I was watching Smallville because it was one of those channels I could pick up. I was
Okay.
like, all right, something to watch, whatever. Um, but I was just sitting there on that, like family's asleep, everybody's around. Um, like that was what my birthday was spent doing.
Hmm.
The next day, after the hurricane had passed, trees are down, power lines are down, like roads were not travelable at all.
Mhm.
But my father, who was staying on the other side of town with his uncle, that's where they all went, somewhere that was safe and everything. And I will add, their road, like which was like a dead end road, was blocked off by like a tree fell and blocked off the road.
Yep.
He found an axe or something. He cut the tree, got it out of the way, and found a way to my mom's house where I was because he had made a point to get me a GameCube for my birthday that year. And he's like, I'm getting this to him.
Oh my god, that's based.
Couldn't do it
What a
on my birthday
fucking
because
Chad dad move.
Yeah.
it couldn't do it on my birthday because everybody was stuck because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
But the moment it was gone, he found a way to get across town to get me my GameCube that I couldn't play, mind you, because there was no power.
No electricity. Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, cool, I have a GameCube. I was like, I cannot wait for power to come back on. Looks around and everything destroyed. I'll be waiting a bit, but I got the GameCube. I'm so excited.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
It was really cool, and I was just like, oh man, we're talking about a GameCube. I gotta tell you all that story. So,
Fair enough.
anyways,
But yes, the initial thought that I did this: Nintendo's Nintendo. You're always going to be disappointed because the mobile market's just so good for them.
Mhm.
Microsoft, you get to be disappointed because they just
Gave up.
they've given up on hardware. Should be specific. They've given up on hardware and also making games to a small point because they haven't put any out, and the company that was putting them out they trashed. So I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get out despite buying up half the industry.
Right.
So all that's left is Sony, and most people didn't have a PS5 for the first year and a half, 2 years that it existed. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of reasons to believe that this is utterly unnecessary, and I imagine this is probably going to blow up in their faces. But also, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a bunch of people see like this being the future. Maybe I'm wrong about the amount of people who will grow away from consoles in favor of PCs because we don't do that here, apparently.
so that's a question. It's my wild. I have a wild crackpot question, kind of based off of this. Do you guys think like this era of consoles or consoles in general are reaching a point of just being an outdated concept?
Yes, because
Yes.
as Dolit says, literally the line between console and PC is very fucking blurry, if not just gone at this point. And I had a second point, but I forgot. But yeah, pretty much like just PC consoles. They're merging into one thing. It's just, do you want to buy a $800, $900 PC from Sony, or do you want to buy a pre-built fucking PC or make your own from scratch, sort of thing?
It is to the point where I don't know enough about the industry to know why they're continuing to make the hardware. Oh no, yes I do. I'm stupid.
Money.
No, no well yes, but not the way you think. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting. The console is a means by which to get to the store page, and the storefront is where they'll make all their money. Right. So yeah, if you buy,
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
so because yeah, when you asked the question, I was like, I don't even know why they still make them instead of just making games and just like Sony has a good first party system, continue to invest in that first party system and branch out a bit. Microsoft has every possible means to make a good game, despite them not having been able to do it and then keep the talent. Um, but yeah, I do forget the console is also a means by which to get money from the initial purchase, which is a loss, so they're not actually getting money.
From the
And then
advertisement.
the storefronts
Yeah.
that you get that you can buy any number of things through.
Yep.
So shit, now that I say that, they're never going away. They're just not.
Also, I just remembered my second point. My second point was time exclusivities because again, as I've said, some games may come out on the PS5 for a year or so, but they will just end up going into PC. Now, Bloodborne is the exception, but
I
I
mean,
feel
there's
there
no
like
might be a
gripe, but
certain
that's
streamer that might change
yeah,
it. Who knows?
yeah.
I still feel like, and I'm probably wrong on this. This is just me being stubborn on this belief, but I still feel like if they released like their first party games like just straight out to PC, they would do better in sales because the initial hype is there to back them, and
I
it's
want to
just a
agree
wider
with you,
audience.
but I'm not entirely too sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. They'd actually, have to test it and then show numbers for us to see, and that's
Right.
something we'll never really see.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, I'm glad to hear you guys agree that the idea of consoles has kind of reached a point of being just outdated.
Yeah.
Um, it's like
Which is kind of
I've
sad.
heard
Oh, not to me,
my
it's not.
my niece's boyfriend was asking me the other day at dinner. He was just like, "I want your opinion on something," and I'm like, "What's up?" He was asking me. He's like, want I got rid of my Xbox a few years ago, but I found myself a lot of times at night after I'm home from work, I'm finding myself really bored." He's like, "So I've been thinking of maybe getting one of the new Xboxes. Do you think I should do that, or just go ahead and dish out the little extra and build a PC?" I'm like, "You should just build a PC, dude."
For sure.
I mean, you want to do this anyways. Both of you and my niece want a PC, so it's
Mm-hmm.
just like just
Yeah. Yep.
build a PC, my dude. Like it'll go longer, go further, and honestly, all of your games on Xbox are available on PC. You have Game Pass there as well on PC, so it's like
And it's just
there's no reason.
easier to set up games between the two people. So instead of
Yeah, like
getting
I'm like
two
there's
fucking Xboxes and all that.
no reason to even think about the Xbox. Like just get a PC. And it's kind of the same thing. Like my nephew wanted a PC. His uh fiance couldn't like afford to get him. Or his fiance and his mom together couldn't afford to get him the PC for Christmas, so they went together and got him a five because it was just a little bit cheaper, and they wanted to get him something nice. So he has a five,
Right.
but he wanted a PC. He still wants a PC. My brother-in-law is looking at getting a PC. Like it's just and then when I like and they've all asked me thoughts, opinions, and I always tell them just go for a PC. It's the better option.
It
I
really
know
is.
people will make some like wild arguments, like I like playing on the big TV screens. You can hook those up to your PC too. It's not that hard.
Hmm.
True.
Um, and you're like, but all I want it for is gaming, and I just don't want all the extra stuff the PC has. I'm just like, okay, then just use
Do
it
you
for gaming.
use a PC for anything else? Yeah. Well, now this one thing can do both.
Yeah, it's like
Ooh.
if that's really your standpoint, just use it for gaming. You don't have to use it for the other stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And also that's
but even
another thing, right? Because like consoles, they pride themselves on, oh, this console can use Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu and all that shit. It's like I can
and
literally
that's
just do that
outdated.
on PC.
Well, that's you can do that on PC, but that's outdated by the fact that TVs do that innately now.
Yeah, and that as
True.
well.
Like I was telling you guys before cast, or maybe I was just telling Dot, maybe you hadn't joined us yet, Nat. But like my sister just got a new Google TV, and I was helping her set it up and play with it, and it's just like it's all there innately. All of your streaming services are right there,
Yeah.
like pre-downloaded.
Yeah.
It's got online like TV and stuff. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, you don't need a
Like
fucking console for that, even though they try to advertise
that
it.
was the entire thing behind I think the naming convention of the Xbox One is it's one place for all of your media and like entertainment,
Yeah,
and that was kind of the thing that shot them in their foot
the
because I'm
one
like, you are a gaming console. You're not people don't aren't looking for you for
streaming services or
all of their
YouTube or any
entertainment
of
and
that
media.
fucking
They're
shit.
looking at you
Yeah,
for games.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I mean, like some people are just like, I don't want to spend, you know, all of that money on a PC or whatever, and I just want to play games. And it's just look, even like the worst argument or that I could tell you to do a still like not do a console is if you just want the games, 90% of PC gaming libraries available on Steam. Get a Steam Deck. It's the same price as a console. And you
True.
can buy a dock for a Steam Deck to hook it to your TV and just play your games on your
Yep.
TV.
I'm
That's
gonna
all
be
you have.
honest. There was the briefest moment of weakness when I was traveling. I looked at my
Ooh.
Switch and I was like, I don't really want to go with this. How much is a Steam Deck? Oh, the OG
I
Steam Deck's only like $350. The new
yeah,
one, the
right.
one that like the actual up to date one's about 500, and I
It's
I
not
don't
too bad.
necessarily need an OLED screen.
I cannot tell you how badly I want a Steam Deck, but that's because find a lot of time because as you guys know, and I think I've mentioned on the cast multiple times, I get sick very often. I have poor health issues.
Yeah.
So I get stuck in my bed a lot and not able to, really sit at my desk. It'd be great if I could just pick up my Steam Deck and play Hollow Knight while I'm stuck there in bed.
Yep.
Or pick up my Steam Deck and play, the Kiseki games that I'm working through. Like, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's where all my games are. They're on my PC, and sometimes sitting up, makes me nauseous. I can't do it. I have to stay in bed, and having a Steam Deck would be awesome. So, I mean, even if you do play on PC, the Steam Deck is still a really nice thing to have because your library is with you when you travel and
Genuinely.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah,
right.
As
but
I've
for those
said
people
all
that
this nonsense about the Switch, I'm like, yeah, but a Steam Deck. Hey,
That's
and
for
well,
I
I mean,
mean,
playing
they
and I
actually
mean
PC
put
that
solid
games.
sympathetically.
hardware into
Yeah,
it and let you play your entire Steam library. So it has the access of having access to your entire
Not
library.
only that,
true.
I think you
Again,
can also do emulation on your Steam Deck as well. So
there are
You
workarounds to do it, yeah.
yeah,
can.
Or you can get one of those not Steam Deck things that also let you do workarounds for things like that too.
yeah.
It's a little not quite as complicated. Um, yeah, and then like it's one of those things like excluding Nintendo because they hoard their IPs. Like most of your stuff's available on PC. Consoles not needed.
Nintendo dies as a company the moment they let any of their stuff go multi-platform.
Oh
Just
yeah.
so they understand this, and I probably shouldn't say it out loud because I don't know. Maybe they were willing to be stupid for a moment, but the
No, no.
moment
Oh,
that
other people have said it out loud. Don't worry.
yeah, the moment that they let any of their IP, any of their major IPs, like the moment I see a Zelda on something that isn't Nintendo, I am not buying it on Nintendo. I'm never buying that game on any Nintendo system because I can
Yeah.
have it on a superior system.
I mean,
It's the same reason like I never finished SMT5, and then I saw Vengeance was coming to PC, and I'm just like I'm just
Why would
not
you
finishing it on
buy?
my
Yeah, why would you
not
bother?
finishing it on my Switch. Yeah, I'm
Just
just gonna
wait
pick
and
it up on
play it on a
PC.
superior system for sure.
Yeah,
not only that, that's why Power World got so popular is because people do want Nintendo product, well, Nintendo games on different either consoles or PC because I
it
just want to
scratched it
play
scratched that Pokemon
Pokemon.
itch.
I just want to play Pokemon on PC. I
Yeah,
mean, and technically I can through emulation, but in through
No, 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 no. No, we mean like a Pokemon game that's made better to perform on a higher end system. I know
right,
what you
yeah,
mean. Like back in
yeah,
the day when
yeah.
they made again, back in the day when they made I think it's Colosseum. What a great
Coliseum.
oh my
Yep,
idea
god,
that was.
Coliseum is
The
so good.
stadium games, what a
freaking love
great
that game.
idea those were.
Those games were so good.
They will.
Oh man. Um, but yeah, like the Steam Deck alone, like kind of further trivializes the fact that consoles. Like it's just you get a Steam Deck, you have your PC library. Even if you don't play on PC, you still have access to your entire library. You want it on your TV, you get the dock, which is I think like $60 more at most, I think. And you just plop it on there, you have it on the dock on your TV, just like how the Switch works, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's travel and it's travelable with good hardware. It's like if you really don't want to do a PC, then do a Steam Deck. Don't do a console.
Yeah.
Like you'll appreciate it in the long run for sure.
Also, fucking consoles just don't interact with each other no more. And the reason why I say this is because you literally just brought it up, Dollar. Pokemon Stadium. You can literally import your Pokemon from your Game Boy Color to your fucking Nintendo 64 and import your Pokemon into Pokemon Stadium and all that. Consoles don't fucking do that
Yeah.
no more. The closest thing I would argue, if I'm stretching it, is the Switch either being off its dock or on its dock. That's it.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean,
Fair.
I think it's just doing that kind of thing. Like games having that kind of interaction is rare, more so than the hardware. So there's not really a precedent for it. The
Well,
most
I mean, the
games interact with
Nintendo
each other
DS
in
and
that regard.
3DS were huge because of Street Pass and all that.
The Street Pass, yeah. I mean, but
Th-
that was
That's
still like a
that's still an
that,
interaction
that
with other consoles. But
but
yeah,
that was also a game thing too. Like that was like Street Pass was a game in and of itself technically.
yeah.
So like the most games interact with themselves is within their own series, and that's just carrying save data over for
Hmm.
special cutscenes and stuff. So I mean, maybe if there were more
You
games
don't get
that
that
like
with
actually interacted,
Sony or X or Microsoft consoles though. That's the thing.
yeah, but it's just like it comes down to there just not being games that interact, like or have a
Fair.
reason to interact.
Yeah.
So like back then, it made sense because like there were games that interacted. You had Pokemon on your Game Boy, and then you had Pokemon on your 64 or GameCube, and
Yep.
you hook them up to transfer and do stuff. And that sort of existed with the Pokemon Bank or whatever that ended up becoming.
Oh,
So
I don't know. Probably dead, most likely.
the bank itself is dead. There's a new version of it.
Of
I
course.
think I remembered to move all my Pokemon over. I hope so. I had a couple shinies I really liked, but then again, I haven't played a Pokemon game in a number of years at this point, really. So, but Nintendo is the odd liar out because of their stinginess with IPs. But yeah, I mean that was my like one of my like the biggest thing I thought about when I was looking at this mid-gen upgrade was just like, is there even a point to consoles at this point?
No, not really.
Redundancy of words, but yeah, I was just like, I don't think there is, and I'm glad to see I'm not the only person that thinks it. I
Hmm.
both of my co-hosts here think it, so I'm not crazy, listeners. Look, I'm not crazy.
We're all
This
just
time.
in his head. This has been a solo podcast for the last 38 episodes now.
Something like that. Yeah, this has been a solo podcast. I'm just. It's not actually that Dahlit's a great voice actor. It's I'm actually an amazing
It's
voice
true.
actor.
He's very
Years ago.
good. He can do two voices at the same time, no less. Very impressive.
Yeah, it's a real trick. Let me tell you what.
Goddamn.
So we had other things to talk about, but we ended up talking about that a little while. So we'll save the other things for another episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks on consoles and gens or anything like that? You guys?
Yeah, closing remarks. I think the whole console war is fucking stupid, and hopefully it stays dead because I'm pretty sure it
Oh,
died
now
off.
actually, I have to make a comment.
Oh, I don't know if it's gone or not, but if it is gone, I hope it stays dead because I find it fucking cringe. But that being said, though, I I guess I just missed the era of PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. I just missed that era, and that's like I don't know. Again, I don't want to say fighting, but like that competitiveness between the two, and like I don't know. I think it was just fun at the time, and then it just got
Wait,
too much.
hold on. You say you missed that, but then you say you want the console world to be dead?
Yeah, no, I want to stay there. Like it's a nostalgia thing. Like I'm looking at it through rose tinted glasses. Like
Okay.
I don't know. Like it's weird.
Well, I want to say like no, I think the console exclusivity and all of that now, yeah, I'm like it's in the past at this point.
Yeah,
Let it go. I agree to that. Like stay gone.
Yeah.
But I will say the console war was such an exciting thing to watch as somebody who's always loved watching gaming in the industry and events and stuff like that. That was like my highlight of back in the day watching E3s
Mhm.
was watching the big 3 conferences and be like, who won E3 this year? I loved that. That was so much fun. Like watching that, watching their presentations, and then the discourse and debates, and just like even like just not even online, just between my friend groups, be like, "Yo, PlayStation won this year," and then someone would be like, "No, Xbox killed it," and then that one guy over in the corner, but Nintendo, and we all go, "Shut up." But that's beside the point.
Okay, yeah, just copy and paste Matt's answer with mine because that's essentially what I was trying to get at. Is that I'm glad that this shit is hopefully gone, but I'm also like, man, I remember back in the day.
Hmm.
Uh
Yeah, I guess after I've said it, I am glad it's gone because having to buy all the consoles. I mean, for me growing up, that wasn't a big deal. But like looking at me now, I'm like, oh yeah, that would suck. That
mhm,
would suck.
yeah.
So yeah, no.
But yeah, delay.
Let's see. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is not my thought. I'm quoting the internet because they said it right. They said it right.
Okay.
I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less. I do.
Agreed.
I want games that aren't photorealistic but have a strong aesthetic. I
Yep.
want games that aren't necessarily open world. I would like to see a couple more just PS2 era action games, adventure games.
Yep.
I
Turn-based RPGs are cool.
yeah, I don't I would like to see games be manageable by devs and manageable for me as a player to finish them.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why they are the way they are, and for every God of War, which is that good, we get something like an Anthem, which isn't. Like,
Mhm.
I just want games to be like lucrative for everyone involved. Because
Yeah.
this sentiment doesn't just benefit old man Dollet, who doesn't want to put more than 100 hours into a game and not be finished. Um, but also, this makes it easier for the companies. They get to put out a game and charge the same amount for it and not have had to spend 10 years on it.
Yeah.
I want these smaller games. I would also like it if games didn't cost $70. And I
Same.
would also like it if,
Yeah.
console generations didn't get any shorter than they were because that's unrealistic.
Yep.
Now you're just
And yeah,
trying
that's
to
what they're doing.
now you're just getting me to say, well, I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving. I'm out. I'm out. And I'll have to look
Yeah.
at Sony games from afar and I'll have to look at Nintendo games from afar and just go, at least Game Pass is on PC.
I'm at that point where I'm just looking at a lot of games that come out on PlayStation and just be like, can I wait a year?
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
I can probably wait a
that's
year.
literally why I just did not bother buying a PlayStation 5 when Final Fantasy 16 was announced. I'm just like, this is gonna come out in PC in a year plus, whenever. It's eventually
I
gonna happen.
I think if 16 had been made by a different team in Square Enix, I wouldn't have had the same reaction. But it was Creative Unit 3's like first single player foray,
Mhm.
and I really wanted to experience that and not have it spoiled, so
Fair.
I bit the bullet on that.
Oh,
So
also, fucking put Bravely Default and Bravely Second on fucking PC, Nintendo. Yeah, we have Default 2, but I'm still waiting for the first two fucking games.
yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna disagree. I might actually finish them.
Yeah.
Be great.
Oh, and also,
That's the only way I finish Nintendo games if they come to PC. I
yeah, pretty
think.
much. And also, Square Enix, if you're listening to this, fucking make a new Dissidia game that's actually good.
God,
Oh my
he's kept
god,
it going. The man's kept it going.
Hey,
how
we're
is he
talking
still doing
about,
this?
PC releases and Sony releases and all that, fucking console. Oh yeah, we didn't even really talk about like arcades and all that, and how they like influenced consoles and all that. But that's another time.
Yeah, we'll save that one for another time because that is a good topic.
Yeah,
Also,
because that's what happened
because of
to Dissidia NT, and I
Nat's
fucking hated it. But yeah, regardless.
because of Nat's wailing of Dissidia, I almost wish I had a mute button for him sometimes.
Okay, go finish and
is that it from both of you?
Put us out of our misery.
yes, please.
All right,
I'll yell at
listeners, we
us.
thank you as always. We thank you as always for listening all the way through this. We are ever curious for your thoughts, and you can always leave them to us in the comment sections below YouTube and Spotify. You can also leave them to us over on Twitter with your questions, maybe topic ideas. Ask CRP. Be sure to give us a follow while you're over on Twitter at Celestia Radio D, and you can give each of us individual a follow if you want. But above all, we do just thank you for listening, and we hope you share us and tell your friends about us. That's the best thing you can do for us, and we do greatly appreciate it. As always, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Take care, everyone.
Be good now.